This lecture is about workflow tips in Photoshop, and in this lecture we're going to go over some really cool workflow tips. Okay, so these are just tips which you can apply to your workflow to speed up your workflow. Okay, so the first tip we're going to be learning today will relate to our eyedropper tool. So I'm just going to create a new project, use this A4 landscape, and then create. Perfect. So most of us know the eyedropper tool. Now this is the eyedropper tool, and we use this tool to select colors, right? So we can say maybe create a new shape and then just go into the color and just come and sample this color outside here, and we can just hit OK, and we've now sampled our color, right? So what if we actually want to sample a color outside Photoshop? How do we do it? So that's very possible. All we need to do is to just say move our Photoshop interface and expose the place we want to copy the color from. And in this case, I've gone ahead and open this website, which is dribble.com. So all you need to do is just go ahead and go into your color picker. Now just click outside, then drag outside Photoshop, okay, into where you want to copy the colors from. Now we can see that Photoshop is sampling our colors outside. So it's sampling this color, and you can see how our color is changing from our color picker tool, right? So we can just sample whatever color we want and release our mouse, and it's going to sample that color for us. You can see that we've particularly sampled the color here, that this dark green color. You can do that with many other colors. Let me just duplicate this and click and hold and then release. Okay, perfect. Now you can see that we've sampled colors outside our Photoshop software using our eyedropper tool. Now the next one is related to our brush. Okay, and basically anything we use with the cursor, our brush, and also tools like our eyedropper tools also get affected with this. Okay, so let me just select my brush. Now we can see that I can now paint. I can now see my brush tip, right? And I can resize my brush tip, reduce the hardness, increase the hardness, do all I want to do, and I'm going to see the preview right in front of me. Okay, so what if I activate my caps lock? So let me just on my caps lock. So if I on my caps lock, you're going to see that it practically turns into a crosshair. So right now it's a crosshair, and we can't see our brush tip. Okay, so if you don't really know this, you might get into trouble sometimes. So you might just be looking for your brush, wondering what happened, why the brush tip is not showing, not knowing that your caps lock is on. So all you need to do is just disable your caps lock, and the brush tip will be back. So that's just a very simple and short tip. And the next one has to do with editing our toolbar. Okay, so sometimes there are instances where we would want to do a particular task, and then we really don't need all of these tools on our toolbar. So Photoshop gives us the ability to edit our toolbar. Just basically save the tools we want to use, okay, because Photoshop has a lot of tools. So all you need to do is to just come to these three dots here, just click and hold, and then click or release your mouse, and then now you have the ability to customize your toolbar. On the left hand side, we see all our tools, available tools. Then on our right hand side, we see where it says extra tools, right? So it means if you come here, you can just come here. Let's say we're not using the selection tools, so we can click and drag to the right hand side, and we see that it's been removed from our toolbar. Okay, and we can basically do that for the whole group by clicking here and dragging. Okay, click here, drag. So let's just reduce some of these tools. Let's keep some of these tools away. So let's say we are now okay with the tools we have on the left hand side, and we want to save them as a preset. Okay, so you can just hit save here and type in the name of the tools, or rather the name of the preset. So we have new tools. Okay, so save and say done. So we can see that the tools we've selected are now out, and if we want to come back and kind of select our tools, all you need to do is just click and hold and you're going to see all of them hidden here. So you can actually go back and select them. They are just hidden, and you can then go to your edit toolbar window and restore defaults if you want, or maybe load a preset and then you select your preset, load, and basically do all of this. Okay, so I'm just going to restore default and hit done to bring back all our tools. So all our tools now are back. Perfect. Now the next tip is kind of relating to using our brush. So I'm just going to go ahead and open a file. So I'll open this file. Now let's say we are using our brush. So let's create a new file. And this tip is also applicable when we're working with, say, a layer mask. Okay, so anything that really requires you using a brush or drawing. Okay, so let's just take our brush and just reduce our brush size. And let's say we want to kind of follow our subject like this. Okay, and kind of follow our subject and just paint around our subject. Let me just undo this and choose a darker color. So let me just choose dark red. Now we see it's easier for me to paint like this. Okay, it's easier for me to paint like this, but when I start coming towards this side, it's going to be harder because my hand is not positioned well to paint along this axis. Okay, so I'll just undo. Now we can rotate our canvas, okay, and then position our character in such a way that it's going to be easier for us to paint along that axis. So how we do this is just by holding R on our keyboard. So we can hold R and then click and rotate our canvas, okay, and then hit B to continue painting. You see, so it's now easier to paint around and then kind of follow it really well, even in the axis where I am not comfortable. So I can now paint beneath our character very efficiently, okay, very well. So just hit R and rotate, and then hit B back and continue painting. Okay, so I'm using the space bar and the left mouse click to kind of pan around my shape like this. Do this. When you are satisfied with what you've done, you can just hit escape on the keyboard, or you can still hit R and then just reset view. Okay, so we can see that we are now able to paint around our character more comfortably. Perfect. Now for the next tip, we're going to use this image still. Now I'm just going to undo, or let's say just delete the layer entirely. Let's say I'm working on our image and I kind of need to zoom in to kind of see what's going on. Okay, I'm working on our image and I'm using the brush tool and I'm painting and kind of zooming in, and now I want to zoom out and zoom into a different place, but I still want to maintain my zoom, so I can still kind of be working like this and then just hold down H on my keyboard. So when I hold down H on my keyboard, it's going to zoom out and it's going to give me this little hand icon with the box around it, and I can now move it and just place it on the place I want to zoom to. So all I need to do is hold down H and place and continue painting, then hold down H and click and release and continue painting. Okay, hold down H, click and release. So all you need to do is hold down H on your keyboard and then click, then it's going to zoom out and you can now focus your zoom on the area you want to concentrate on. That's just it for this little tip. Now the next tip is relating to calculations in Photoshop. So many of us use Photoshop without knowing that Photoshop is a calculator. Okay, so let me explain what I mean. Let's say I just create a text, a default text, and I want to kind of scale this text to 2 times the size. Right on my contextual bar, we can see that we have the font style and we have the font size. Now I'm going to come to the font size, click here, and then /2. So that's divide by 2. Okay, and hit enter. Now we can see that Photoshop has divided our shape by, or rather the size of our text by 2. Yet I can just do multiply by 3, okay, and enter. We can see that Photoshop has multiplied the size of our text by 3. Okay, we can do this with virtually everything that has a value here. Okay, we can do this virtually everything that has a value. So let's say we want to reduce our opacity. We can just do 100% divided by 2. Okay, so we can see that it has reduced this to 50%. Okay, so basically everything that has a value, we can use these operations with, okay, to speed up our workflow. Perfect. So that's it for this one. And the next tip relates to what we call the history panel. Okay, so let's just go to Windows and then click history. Now this is what we call the history panel, and many of us don't use this. You might not be aware of this panel, but this panel stores the history of our work. So as we work, it kind of stores our history. So now, since the inception of this document, or since when I opened this document, we can see all of the things I kept doing. So when I just click here, for example, we can see that it has taken us back in time to this point where we created this new layer. Okay, so let's click this. We can see that we added the brush stroke, and now as we keep clicking or activating more history, we keep seeing all the things we did that Photoshop stored. Now when we deleted the layer, it also recorded it. Okay, perfect. So this is a way to kind of go back to see what you've done or what you like to redo. You get. We also have some other interesting functions on the history panel, okay, or on the history tab. So let's just do something. So let's create some big boxes here, a number of them. So let's create like 4 big boxes and give them different colors. Perfect. So we have all of these with different colors. Okay, now we have what we call snapshot. This is what we call snapshot. So it enables you create snapshots of your viewport. You get, so I can just click and create a new snapshot. Now if I go up, we see that we have our snapshot here, and let's say I want to go back in time. So I can maybe go back in time where we had just this guy and create a new snapshot, and maybe go back in time where we had just this guy with this color, and then create a new snapshot, and then maybe here, and then create a new snapshot, and we can see that all our snapshots are here. Now if we select our first snapshot, we can just go ahead and save. Okay, go ahead and save our file. So let's just save this as snapshot1, snapshot ss1, save. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and save snapshot2. S, snapshot2, ss2. Let's save snapshot4. So Ctrl Alt S, or save a copy as. That's yeah. So ss3, ss3. Perfect. So if we go back to our layer, where is our layer? Good. Or rather to our folder. So we can see that we've been able to save different shots as separate images from the same Photoshop file. You get, so that's one of the things we can do with snapshots. And we also have this button here. For this one, we can use it to delete an action or a history. So basically that's what we can use our history panel to do, and it really speeds up our workflow if we make really good use of it. Okay, so the next one is related to okay, it's something really cool. Let me just go ahead and place a new, or rather open a new image. So let's select this image this time. It's what we call the fade command, or the fade function. So let's assume we just come here and then add black and white filter or adjustment and hit OK. Now we have a command which enables us to go back and affect the previous effect we added. All we need to do right now is immediately after adding the effect or the adjustment or the change to our image, you just go to edit and then come here. Now you see fade black and white. All you need to do is to click, and then now you get a slider, like an opacity slider, which enables you to kind of fade the opacity of your last effect. Okay, so you can see how cool this is, right? Now this works with everything, really, almost everything. So let's say we want to reduce or remove this dimple of hearts, this really beautiful dimple. So we will use a tool like the patch tool. Actually, let's use the patch tool. So click or make the selection and then click and drag. Okay, so perfect. Now we've removed her dimple. So let's say we feel that this effect is too harsh and we want to kind of fade it, right? So now we can fade it. Okay, I think I did something that kind of cleaned the effect. So let's try it again. So let's select and then click and drag. Then just go to edit and then fade patch selection. Perfect. Now you see we can fade the effect. Maybe we want the dimple to just reveal a little bit. So we can now fade it like this to the amount we want and hit OK. So just deselect our selection. Perfect. So that is it for the fade function. Now the next tip relates to us working on the same image, kind of zooming in to see details while still having a full view of our complete image. Okay, so let me just demonstrate this instead of struggling to explain. So while on your image, just come to Windows, then come to Arrange, and then hit New Window for Igor Photography. Okay, that's the title of our image. So it now opens a new window for our image. And I'm just going to close all of these once. We don't need them. Now, it's basically the same image. It's basically the same file. Anything you do here will be affected here. So all you need to do now is just come to Windows, come to Arrange, then let's just arrange them side by side. Now for this one, we could have it zoomed out. And then for this one now, you just need to click to activate our window. Okay, so now for this one, we can zoom in and kind of make changes. So we can zoom in and let's say we want to use the plume stamp tool and just make some weird effects like this. Okay, perfect. So if we release, we'll see that the image on the right hand side is basically updating. So anything we do here will be affected here. So let's say we want to remove our dimple once more. Click, remove, and it's going to update here. Okay, so that's a way to work with the same file in two windows. Okay, so that's also a good tip to speeding up our workflow. Perfect. Now the next tip relates to speeding up little actions with our shift key. Okay, so let's just create a new shape here. So this is a new shape. Now let's use our keyboard keys, zoom in a bit, and then use our keyboard keys to move to the right hand side. Now I'm moving to the right hand side, but we can see that it's really slow, right? It's really slow. It's really slow. Now if I hold down shift and move, you can see that we are now moving faster. Okay, it's covering more space now. Now that's basically it, and this works with almost everything. So let's assume we want to reduce our opacity. So I'm using my mouse wheel to scroll down and reduce our opacity, and we can see how slowly it's reducing, right? So 82, 81, 80. But when I hold down shift from 80, we can reduce to 60. You can reduce to 50, to 40 faster. Okay, so basically this is one of the things we can use the shift key to do in order to speed up our workflow. So delete, yes. Now for the next tip, I'm just going to close this guy because of this little distortion I did here. So close it and then open. So let's open same image and also this one. So open. Perfect. Now we have these two images open. We go to this one. Let's see, I'm using the crop tool and I kind of like my photo dimensions. So I want to copy this photo dimensions. Okay, to our image here. All I need to do is to come here, select my crop tool, and then come here to this place and then just select front image. So if I do front image and go back to my image here, you can see that it has basically created the same dimensions as the former image, right? So I can just go ahead and hit enter, and with enter I can now either move my subject maybe to the right hand side or to the left hand side, or to do basically to reveal what I want to reveal, and just hit done. Perfect. So now we can see that we have copied our dimensions here to this image. Okay, now we can also see that our dimensions here and here are same as the ones we have here, so it means they are the same. So the next Photoshop tip relates to kind of focusing our zoom on particular elements of a design. Okay, so go ahead and open your folder and select this file here. So this Photoshop file, this new poster design. So select the file and open. Now, if you're coming from the fundamental course, you're going to recognize this design, right? So we did this in the fundamental course, and this design has a lot of layers, a lot of elements. Okay, so let's say we're working and we just want to kind of zoom in to see certain elements. Okay, so we have them on our layers panel here. All we need to do is to hold down Alt and click, and we'll basically zoom into the selected element. So right now we're selecting this rectangle one, and we can see that we've zoomed into it. So let's keep going. So we've zoomed into this guy. Let's select our text here, and we've zoomed into the text. So it's basically holding down Alt on your PC or Option on your Mac, of course, and then click. So click, and basically that's it. You can keep zooming in to all of these elements. Perfect. So the next tip has to do with processing a lot of images. Okay, so let's assume we have lots of images which we want to convert into a certain file format. Okay, or we have lots of Photoshop files which we want to convert into certain formats like JPEG or TIFF. Okay, so we can actually do this. So just come to File, come to Scripts, then come to Image Processor. So this image processor window now opens, and you can now select your image. So you can use open images, so it's going to use just the ones that are open. So let's assume you want to kind of save all your open images to Photoshop files, so you can use this to save all of them. So but we do not want to use the open images, we just want to use a folder. Okay, so click on this and then select folder. Now just come to your folder, and then now we had worked on some images when we looked at actions, right? So we created an action and then applied it to multiple images. So we are now going to use this function to convert all our images into other formats. So select the folder here which contains the images. It's called done. Then hit OK, and then now you have to come here to select the location. So you can save in the same location if you want, but I don't want that. I want to create a new folder. So select folder, and now I am inside my done folder. I also want to just create a new folder here and give it the same name, done. Okay, it's done inside done. So I'm just going to go in and then select folder. Perfect. And now we can just save file as maybe JPEG if we want, but they are already JPEG, so why should we save them as JPEG, right? So we are not going to save them as JPEG, we'll save them as PSD as Photoshop, and we can save them as TIFF also. Yeah, I will save them as PSD and TIFF just to show you, and we can resize and resize also. You can also run actions on all of these images. We can select the set of actions. We have the default and we have the my set. So under my set, we can see our cool effect action, right? So we can also select it, but we don't want to run action. So just check this and basically run. Now Photoshop is going to open each and every one of these images and save each and every one of them as Photoshop files and TIFFs. So when it's done, we're going to come back and look at our saved files. Perfect. Now Photoshop is done of saving our files. So just go to your folder and now enter done and go to done, done within done. And then now we can see that it created a folder titled PSD and this other one titled TIFF, right? So we can see that our folders are really large. Now we can see all of them as PSDs and all of them as TIFFs, right? For these PSDs, let me just open one of them. So open this one, and now we can see that it's actually our image. Perfect. So that's just for you to know. Now I don't really need all of this, so I'll just delete everything here. You can see that the folder is really large, right? 1.5 gigabyte. So just right click and delete. Perfect. Go back to Photoshop, and now we're going to look at our last workflow tip. Now this tip involves us creating custom shortcuts, okay? Custom hotkeys to help us perform the actions which we do regularly. Okay, so let's just Ctrl J. Now come to edit and now come to keyboard shortcuts. So click keyboard shortcuts, and now with this window here we can edit our keyboards, okay, our keyboard shortcuts, or we can create new keyboard shortcuts. So let's say we want to create a keyboard shortcut for turning our image into a smart object or turning our layer into a smart object. We can do that here. Okay, so all these lists are structured based on our menus here. So file for file menu, edit for edit menu, and so on and so forth. So basically we can do everything, or rather we can create shortcuts for everything that we can do with our menus here. That's basically everything in Photoshop, right? So for turning our image or our layer into a smart object, you can just come to layer, then I'll scroll down to look for smart object, smart object, smart object, smart objects. Okay, so this is smart object, smart object. Now convert to smart object. Now you can see that we don't have any shortcut right now, but we can add a shortcut. So let's say Control Alt D. Perfect. So let's accept and OK. Now while selecting our layer, we can do Control Alt D to convert our layer into a smart object. And this works for every single thing in Photoshop, even filters. Even filters, you can create shortcuts for filters. Let's say blur. Let's say we want to create shortcut for a blur filter. So I want to edit and then filter, and then keyboard shortcut, and then just now come to filter and now zoom or scroll down, and let's look for blur here. Looks for blur. So blur. So let's say we want to give it a Gaussian blur. So we can see Control Shift Z. Okay, we can see that it has shortcut already. And let's see Control Alt B. Okay, so let's say Control Shift Alt B. Wow. Okay, this is getting really interesting. So let's see Control Shift X. Okay, so let's see, it's for the Loopify. So if we accept, it's going to kind of remove this shortcut from the Loopify and give it to our Gaussian blur. So let me just try something else. Control Shift K. So color settings. So, and we don't really use color settings, right, that much. So I'm just going to accept. So we've now given our Gaussian blur Control Shift K and then just OK. Now if I do Control Shift K, you can see that we now have the option to kind of adjust our blur, and we can hit OK. And now I've added the Gaussian blur filter to our layer. So that's it for workflow tips in Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so see you in the next one. Bye bye. Hey, so that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. We post new videos every week covering topics in the fields of graphic design and illustration, motion graphics and video, branding, and more. If you want to support us and get access to exclusive benefits such as the project files we use in our classes, a live chat with us, shoutouts, and more, consider becoming a patron on Patreon. You can join for as little as $3 a month, and the link to our Patreon page is in the description below. And if you want to take your learning to the next level, you can check out the complete course, of which this episode is a part of. And in the complete course, you get access to more than 10 hours of video lessons, project files and resources, class exercises, a Q&A section, a certificate of completion, and more. You can get the course for a special discount by using the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.